In the year 2018, a Nairobi-based businessman was strangled to death when a bribery and corruption scheme went awfully wrong. Just to note, this is still an ongoing case, and therefore all persons mentioned are innocent until proven guilty. We are just going by what we know so far and mostly based on prior confession by one of the killers. Welcome to the Crime Gist. My name is Damisa. Isaac Kassim Jirow was a Nairobi-based businessman of Somali descent. He was known within the Kenyan business community for his involvement in tendering and contractual ventures. He resided in Nairobi, but he had his business operations across the country. Jirow was a family man with a wife and children. However, detailed personal information about his early life and family remain limited in public records. Mr. Kassim Jirow had worked for the Mandera County government before he was retrenched in early 2017. With never-ending needs and a family to feed, he decided to do the obvious and start looking for another job. This time, he wanted a job with the Kilifi County administration. He knew that it was just a matter of time before available positions were announced by the county government of Kilifi. Kassim was very interested in the position of the Chief Officer for Devolution, Public Service and Disaster Management in that county. And he decided he was going to take that position no matter what it took, even if he had to use unconventional means. In June 2017, Jirow and his friend known as Abbas went to the office of Kilifi County Public Service Board seeking help with securing this position. Here, they were introduced to a lady known as Mandi Jilani. Mandi Jilani was working as a driver for the Kilifi County government. This lady took pride in knowing all the influential people in the office, and she did not waste time letting Jirow and Abbas know this fact. Based on this, she presented herself as a person capable of getting Jirow business opportunities. She promised to help him secure that lucrative county government job that he wanted. Mandi Jilani then took the two friends, Jirow and Abbas, to the Kilifi County Public Service Board chairman known as Mr. James Mulewa. She told him that the two men needed help in securing a particular position. Mr. Mulewa then asked for Jirow's academic papers. Jirow was, of course, a well-learned man with his bachelor's in business management and a master's degree in human resource management. Abbas was just there to negotiate on behalf of his friend. Mr. Mulewa then asked the two to go home, saying that he would inform them when the time came for them to apply for the position. Mandi Jilani, the driver, then approached Jirow and convinced him to part with a significant sum of money that she said would help him secure the contract. Jirow agreed. He was willing to do anything for the position he was eyeing. From September 2017, Jirow is said to have paid large sums, totaling to the tune of millions, to the Kilifi County driver, Mandi Jilani. Mobile money records that would later be produced in court showed several transfers to Miss Mandi's accounts and mobile money numbers. In the meantime, Jirow's friend Abbas was in constant communication with Mr. Mulewa until January 2018 when the position was advertised. Mulewa then gave them the go-ahead to apply. When Jirow applied, he was among the 6 shortlisted candidates and was asked to attend an interview on February 5th, 2018. He was very hopeful. After all, he had already coughed up an amount that he knew in his heart would enable him get this job. After the interview, they were all asked to go home and wait for the results. 2 weeks later, the results were out, and to Jirow's surprise, he was not selected. He did not score above the 60% threshold required. This meant that he was not going to get the promised job, even after parting with a large sum of money. They had taken his money and not delivered on the agreed deal. He was obviously angry. And now he only had one mission: to get his money back. This bribe money would become a huge source of tension between Jirow and Miss Mandi Jilani. Jirow started pressing for his refund. For weeks, he kept pressing, but Mandi Jilani failed to deliver, saying that she needed some more time. The truth was, Miss Mandi had no way of paying him back. She had already used up all the money, and so she decided to use other options to get Jirow off her back. She had to eliminate him. This dispute had formed the motive for what she was about to carry out. When once again Jirow called requesting for his money, Mandi Jilani arranged a meeting. She asked Jirow to come to Malindi so they could talk. On March 8, 2018, Jirow Kassim began his journey to Malindi to meet with Mandi Jilani and finalize the business arrangements. Mandi informed Jirow that two men would be coming to pick him up in Nyali before driving him to Malindi where he could meet her. The two men were Makonde Rua Buni and Gira Karisa Charo. Unbeknownst to Jirow, Mandi had conspired with these two guys and struck a deal. Upon arriving in Nyali, Jirow sent Mandi what would become his final message. I have arrived safely. When will you be sending the car? A few minutes later, the two men picked him up at City Mall Nyali in a private car and started their journey to Malindi. Makonde Buni was the driver. Gira Karisa sat on the co-driver's seat while Kassim Jirow sat behind the driver. They drove for a while until they got to Malindi, a place known as Mbuyu wa Kusema. Here is where they picked up Miss Mandi Jilani. By now, it was around 4 p.m. Mandi had Gira move to the backseat next to Jirow while she sat at the co-driver's seat. The group then proceeded with the journey. Somewhere on the way, they stopped the car to pick up Gira Karisa's brother, known as Katana Karisa. Katana got in the backseat next to Gira and Jirow. At this stop, Mandi requested to drive the car, so she had the driver, Buni, move to the co-driver's seat while she took the wheel. The group then drove off. They ended up in a remote location in Langobaya near Malindi when the vehicle stopped and Miss Mandi stepped out. This was the signal for the others to attack. Here, the three men in the car suddenly pounced on Jirow and started attacking him. He wasn't expecting the attack. He honestly thought they were driving to Miss Mandi's place or to a decent place to conduct a meeting with the hope of getting his money back. They had caught him off guard. After attacking him, the group of men then took out a rope they had in the car and strangled Kassim Jirow with it, killing him there and then. Like the sick, disturbed group they were, they then drove to a nearby hotel with Jirow's body still in the backseat, left their car at the parking lot, and went in to order for early dinner. They then drank some palm wine and waited for the dark so they could conceal their depraved crime. At 8 p.m., they drove about 10 minutes from the hotel to a thicket in a secluded place. Here, they undressed Jirow and poured 5 bottles of acid all over his body in a further attempt to conceal their crime. The group spent about 3 hours pouring the acid on the body and doing everything they could to conceal it. They then attempted to put his body in a black trash bag and left it in that thicket before driving off. Following Jirow's disappearance, his family reported him missing and a search was organized to look for him. 2 days later, on 10th of March 2018, his body was discovered in that thicket in Langobaya Magarini, Malindi sub-county. His naked body had been deeply scarred with acid. 3 empty acid bottles were found at the site. The weapon used to strangle the deceased, the rope, was found still tied to his neck. As per the post-mortem conducted on Jirow Kassim, the cause of death was cervical spinal fracture, secondary to strangulation. Police investigations traced his last known location using mobile phone records. These records linked Jirow's last communications and financial dealings to Mandi Jilani and her associates. Days later, the police arrested Makonde Buni and Gira Karisa Charo. A bottle of the same brand of acid that was on the crime scene was recovered in Gira Karisa's house. The two men then led the police to Miss Mandy's house. She was found packing a suitcase and other belongings, seemingly ready to escape. Gira Karisa's brother, Katana Karisa, was also a person of interest in this case, but he managed to escape and is still wanted to date. During interrogation, Gira Karisa Charo confessed to his role in the murder. Unlike his co-accused, who denied having committed the crime, Gira chose to cooperate with the authorities. And since the prosecution needed a strong witness, they gave him a plea deal. He was to plead guilty in this crime and testify against the rest for a lesser sentence. Gira Karisa Charo provided detailed information on how and why the crime was committed. He revealed that Miss Mandy had been to his house several times asking for help to eliminate someone she owed money. She claimed that she simply couldn't pay back the amount she owed. Mr. James Mulewa, the then chairman at Kilifi County Public Service Board, was also a person of interest in this case. But he claimed he was innocent and did not partake in the scheme to get money from Jirow, that he was not aware of the deal Miss Mandy had made with Jirow concerning securing the county job. Mr. James Mulewa was later let go when they couldn't find direct evidence linking him to the crime. As for Miss Mandy, her associate was now turning on her and confessing to the crime. Due to Gira Karisa's cooperation, the DPP recommended a reduced sentence for him, suggesting a jail term not exceeding 10 years. He was eventually sentenced to 8 years in prison on 8th April 2019. But in a move that surprised everyone and dealt a blow to the prosecution case, in June 2020, Gira Karisa recanted his confession. He claimed that he had been coerced into giving that confession. I thought I would be set free, but I ended up being jailed, which is contrary to our agreement. I did not kill anyone, he said. Gira insisted that he did not physically write any statement and that whatever was presented in court was written by the police. He revealed that he didn't know how to read and write, so he was not aware of the content of the statement he was forced to sign and accept as his testimony. Gira is a second-born in a family of 7. As a kid, he had been enrolled in Bugale Primary School, but dropped out in class 1. He was therefore truly illiterate. For the better part of his life, he had been a freelance casual worker doing palm wine tapping. But still, his recanting of the confession had really surprised the prosecution. They suspected that Gira had been asked by someone to recant his evidence. They noted that he had been remanded in Malindi prison, where his co-accused was, despite the prosecution requesting that he be remanded in Shimolatewa prison, away from the other accomplice. Following this recanting of the confession, the prosecution asked for his 8-year sentence to be set aside and for Gira to have fresh charges of murder brought against him. The plea agreement was then rendered null and void, and with this, Gira, who had been the state witness, would now only be considered as a murder suspect. After expunging Gira's evidence, the judge who was hearing this matter also recused themselves from the trial. This was done to maintain impartiality and to uphold the presumption of innocence and fair trial principles. The judge needed to recuse themselves so a new judge could hear the entire case afresh. So, Eddie Mandi Jilani, Gira Karisa Charo, and Makonde Ruabuni are all facing a fresh trial for murder. They denied the charges and their trial is still ongoing. I'll be sure to give you guys an update when this case is concluded. The murder of Kassim Jirow was a tragic result of corruption. This case exposed the operations of alleged job for bribes cartels within county administrations, where applicants are persuaded to pay large sums for governmental jobs that do not exist. Jirow was just one among many that are deceived in this manner. So let it be a cautionary tale to each one of us. Corruption is a vice that we all need to fight together for the betterment of our nation. That brings us to the end of our episode today. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, to subscribe, and to share this episode with other true crime junkies like yourself. See you right here on the next one.